Welcome to the Ruffells ad break, the first of the Ruffells Roughcasts. I'm Tim McInnes, Managing Director. In this podcast, we dig into how the creatives we work with get the most out of every brief to deliver best results for you. At Ruffells, we're all about the people, and when we're working with best in breed, it's easy to get great results. We also reckon that when the majority of our effective brain time is spent at work, you might as well enjoy the ride. Speaking of enjoying the ride, joining us this episode is Kirk Pflaum, Christchurch-born Director of Photography, who now resides in Auckland. When he's not creating beautiful images, he's likely to be found with his dog in his Landcruiser somewhere in the middle of nowhere, or collecting medium format cameras. In this episode, we talk about getting on the same page as the rest of the crew, doing the work prior to the shoot day, not talking to the client, and the magic of TV. But less from me and more from Kirk. Ruffells ad break. Was that three claps?
That was three.
Yeah, just the two.
Just two.
Yeah. But you only get one shot.
Ruffells ad break.
Thank you very much for being here. Very last minute. We actually were in this studio this morning filming. You know that?
Like half an hour ago.
Because you were filming.
I was there filming.
And so that's why the wall looks a bit streaky, because we've just repainted that. So for anybody who's watching on the YouTube channel, please apologise that while the paint dries. Too good of an opportunity to...
It smells good.
This might be a weird one. This might be a weird pod. Hey, where do we start with you? You're a long-time collaborator.
Since when?
Since when? Where is the beginning?
2010?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We've worked together for a lot. You've not just had... Now we employ you as a director of photography. I've seen some really questionable films that you've made, written and made during lockdowns and stuff for 48-hour film festivals. And I think we've all done some things during lockdown that we maybe weren't so proud of.
I kept my professional life and my private life separate.
So yeah.
That's two different things.
That's a good way to do it. But you've also, you started editing. You've done.
I started doing everything.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. You're like, graduating. Oh no, even before graduating, I was still at high school, playing cameras, trying to edit, tape to tape.
What were those cameras? If you were doing tape to tape, what were those? What was the technology
it was like Sony Hi8 tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So film had kind of gone away, and video was a thing.
Hi8 was really a thing.
Hi8, yeah.
But it was probably...
Then mini DV, yeah.
Then mini DV. Hi8 was...
But it was before the computer editing software. You could kind of tape to tape edit.
Yeah. And what were you making?
Just silly little, you would film your friend, and then you go abracadabra, and everyone pauses, and then you stop record, and then he leaves, and then you hit record again, and it's, he's gone, and then you sort of splice it together. And you're a magician.
Kirk the Magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And would you feature in those things yourself, or?
Yeah, or the brother. Yeah.
Yep.
Just and your friends.
What was it that excited you? Was it the technology? Was it the storytelling? Was there something that you just couldn't leave alone, or?
Yeah, I think it was like it was like you could do something that was, what's the word? It's like more than life.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, I mean, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it wasn't just reality. You can go this level beyond reality, and then,
you can construct it.
Yeah, construct your own reality.
Your version of it.
Yeah.
How often was the end product the thing that you thought it was going to be?
Oh, every time. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, so.
That's true.
Just playing and making it up as you go along.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you always, because I think that's one thing that, if I think about you as director of photography, I mean, how hard can that be? I mean, you get a really good camera and you point it at things. How hard can it be to make it look good, right?
The camera.
But I mean, is that the last consideration, or where do you start with the process to make things look good?
It starts right back with the script, or what is the thing we're trying to shoot.
Yep.
And what's the outcome that's needed.
What do you need to know? What do you need to know to do a good job?
What's the budget? No.
What's the budget?
I mean, I think it's about getting in the head of the director. Yeah. I mean, it's a collaboration, I think.
Yep.
And I mean, I can come with ideas and offer up, and, you know, it's a lot of problem solving sometimes. It depends how much time you have to prep it, or...
Yep.
But it's about just, getting on the same page with the other people in the team and just get it done, making it happen.
Is that across all disciplines? You work music video, TV commercials, corporate stuff, documentaries, TV stuff?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to tell a story or get across an idea, and you want it to look as good as possible within the constraints that you have. Often you don't have the time you want, or often all the gear you need, but you make it work. So that's the thing, you've got to be adaptable.
How important is it to know, do you sort of remove yourself from the end process, or is it just about the day, or is it about, do you sort of try and dig a little bit deeper? And I'm not just thinking with us, we've sort of got a shorthand because we've worked together so often.
Yeah.
And I can just say it's one of those jobs, or it's one of those jobs, and that translates sort of immediately. But like, you know, we've worked on stuff which is literally you and me maybe picking up somebody else somewhere else, filming something through to, I don't know, 20, 30 people,
Yeah.
you know. So does anything change within that? Do you need to know anything broader, or is it trust in me, trust in the director that you're working with, the producer? Who are the people you're collaborating with in order to realise any particular vision or aesthetic?
No, it's usually the director is the main, because they're coming up with the creative angle on it. And then I'm trying to sort of interpret what they want and think of how do we technically execute those ideas, or I'll bring some ideas about, I don't know, colours or shot angles, that kind of thing. So I see it as a very collaborative process. I like to work.
How much of it is art? How much of it is technical? How much of it is understanding the sort of science behind equipment?
Depending on the job as well. But a lot of the technical stuff becomes, it's the same thing every job, like, you know, the color temperature of the lights, or the camera's got certain settings. It's sort of, it's like driving a car. You just know what, you just got to do it with muscle memory kind of thing.
You say that like it's simple, but it's not.
No, I mean, it comes from years and years of doing it, and then putting it into practice.
Yeah.
And sometimes you forget the odd thing.
But I mean, for example, this morning we were filming reasonably straightforward, one up, person to camera, talking about a product, and you were using mixed light. So you had daylight lamps in the front, and you had tungsten light in the back as a backlight, which then created a whole different mood to the frame, which I never would have done.
Right.
Because I go A plus B equals C, and you go, well, that's boring, right?
Yeah.
But you don't think about that.
Well, I do, but it's because I've given the space to do it. Like, you're there, you're communicating with the client and what they need, and then I can just focus on the image and the lighting, that kind of thing.
I just think you're underselling how much thinking there is.
Right.
You know.
I mean, it does come. At some point, I would have.
At some point, you would have considered what you were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why I decided then there to do it, I don't know.
I suppose it's different if you have. So if we're working with a specific brand, and there were brand colours, and there was being art directed, or we did a TV commercial together where it changed from being inside a kitchen, and then behind it was a big digital screen of a beach, and there was a light change in that, you know. How much do people see that? How much? I don't know. I saw it.
I don't know how many people think it, but when I'm yeah, I guess that whole creative, like those decisions, I feel are being made days before I'm actually there shooting it. That's where you've got the time to be creative and go, hey, if the script says it starts inside and we're outside, then oh well, in my mind the light should change to match some sort of realism. It's sort of meant to be. There's still a world you're setting that scene in.
Yep.
There's a limit to how weird it can be or should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sort of thinking that all through prior to the shoot.
Yep.
So when we're there on the day, we're just executing it.
Yeah. Is there anything in the last few years that you immediately sort of think of as that was an awesome job? What was it, and what did you bring to it that made you feel that way? Yeah. They all just merged into one.
They're all so different, and they've all got different challenges and different outcomes, and the crew's always different often, or the subject matter. It's hard to pick one. I think any project that you kind of feel pushed just beyond your comfort zone. They talk about the flow state. You know, you're challenged, but then also feels like time just disappears. Like, oh, where did that last day go? It's been busy. But
Yep.
you feel exhausted, but in a sense of achievement, I guess.
Yep.
And everyone's happy at the end of the day with what we've done. I think that's always a good job.
How important do you think it is to have a crew around you who are on the same page?
Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, having that, I mean, like you and I, we've worked together so much, you build that shorthand with crew, and then you sense of, like, I remember when I used to camera assist, I was like, oh, they're going to want this lens. I just know that DP is going to want this lens next, because you just get onto their wavelengths. So if you have a crew that on the same wavelength, and it just comes from the more time you spend working with them.
Yep.
Yeah, but also clearly communicating that to begin with.
Yeah. Because we were on a job yesterday, and at the end of it, they said to us how relaxed the whole shoot was. There was no pressure. We got through it. I think we hit. I think we went 7 minutes over schedule, which is nothing because we added a whole bunch of other bits and pieces into it.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Is that normal to have a low pressure? Because obviously you don't just work for us. You work for a whole bunch of different people.
Yeah.
So what's a normal? What should a set be like for a client when they walk onto that set if they don't have masses of experience, or even if they do? What is the ideal environment to walk into, and how much of that are you contributing to?
Yeah. Well, it's strange because I'm not often thinking about the client themselves.
Yeah.
I indirectly am, because I'm there to help create a product that they're paying for.
Yep.
I'm being professional and making sure I'm getting the job done. Yeah. It can be a fine line between joking around and then, like, okay, we've got to get on with it.
Yep.
If I am talking, I came up with you come up with a hierarchy, and you just don't talk to anyone outside of your department. And if the client turns up, I don't, unless I'm specifically introduced, I won't go over and talk to them, because they're to just do a job, and they've probably got a million things they're going through, and
Yep.
just do my job, I guess, do it the best I can. And
How much of the magic of TV lured you in, and do you think it still exists? Or certainly with what you do, a lot of people will turn up on the day and they'll go, "Oh, this is amazing," and da da da, and then sort of an hour later they're like, "Those people are standing around a lot." The people who maybe don't have the same set time.
Yes. Hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait.
Standing around waiting, and it's like, well, why are we waiting?
Yeah.
Is the magic still there?
And did you have a thing? Did you have a thing where you went, "I want to be part of that"?
Yeah, growing up, like when DVDs were a thing,
Yep.
they often had little making of videos, and I just love watching those. It's like the whole process of like creating all this creates this whole thing, and this looks so magical often, or
otherworldly.
Otherworldly.
Yeah.
It's like it's taking reality and pushing it past. I think I mentioned that before.
Yep.
So you can take something that's real, but then you can sort of go beyond that. It's like metaphor.
Yeah.
So film can be a metaphor.
So it's more
So
art,
watching-
more art than technical. You're still a romantic. You're a
Yeah.
hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
Hasn't been crushed out of you
No, it
yet.
hasn't crushed out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely days where, like any job, you're like, I just got to do the thing and keep
Clock the hours.
Clock the hours,
Push on
do the
through.
job.
Yeah. Make
Yep,
the day.
Yeah. It's not as artistic as some projects,
Yeah.
but that's where you go, okay, that's just that job and get
Yeah.
it done and
I think that's true. I
still
think.
bring my A game to it.
Yeah. Well, it's still functional.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there is. I think sometimes there's sort of a disconnect between people who think that they're changing the world and people who are servicing a technical request. You know, and both are fine.
Yeah.
In the right place. And actually, some jobs, having 2 people is better than having 6 people. And other jobs, 6 people isn't enough.
Yeah,
You know.
it's not every day I'm trying to win the best cinematography award. It's like it doesn't need that, and just knowing where to. There's a English podcast of a DP once, and their the highest priority of the day was make the day. Like get
What does that
everything-
mean?
Make the day is achieve all the shots you need to tell that script. The second priority was make the day. Third priority was make the day. 9th priority, like, make it look good. It's like often, you just gotta, every production's different and you work as hard as you can, but you don't want to be the one that's making everyone stay late or have to come back.
It does happen.
Yeah, there's always going to be compromises, and it's just figuring out where I can compromise this, but this I won't, and push for that, but within the time constraints we have or the budget, or figuring out like, okay, we can't get this shot, but what's one way we could do it that gives a similar look,
Yep. Or sells the story.
or sells the story. Yeah,
There's got to be something.
tells the same thing.
Yeah.
but in a different. Yeah.
And then what about some of that technical stuff, which is, you know, I don't know, a car crash or like, you know, some things which you obviously don't want to be in a situation with a camera that's going to put you or the equipment at risk or what have you. How do you get around that kind of stuff? I mean, I've got ideas, but I often find myself saying, this is what I'm thinking. I think X and Y and Z, and then I let you pick holes in it, you know?
Yeah. I guess that comes down with like, okay, do we have stunt people involved with this, or how much visual effects are we able to have in this? And it's figuring that way in the pre-production process.
Yep.
Or is it just you and me in a car? Then so we're very limited. We've got to technically come up with the way it looks, or you use a lot more sound effects and imply things. So it's it depends on how many other people can be involved.
Yep.
And
Put a
keep people safe.
GoPro through a cardboard box,
yeah,
you know, throw it somewhere.
exactly, and just have it tumbling.
Yeah.
So
But there are ways around things though, right?
there's always a way around it.
And where does that come from? Does that come from you referencing certain materials? Do you watch certain things, or is it?
Yeah, like I would have watched some behind the scenes of a film made in the 70s where it's before a lot of CGI and maybe health and safety wasn't a
health and safety didn't used to. No,
people didn't think of that. So
I mean,
like, but then you see, like, okay, that's what they did. Let's do that, but in a safe way. It'll achieve a similar look.
Yep. I mean, you
And
must
come
have
from-
you must have done really sketchy things at the beginning of your career. I certainly did. Like, you know, I don't know, agricultural shoots where they say you want to get an elevated shot and they stick you on the forks of a forklift or whatever,
Just goes up,
just on the forks, or maybe they find a pallet and
Yep.
they say, "Oh, hang on,"
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And you go, "Okay, all right, let's
Just
see."
sit in the back of the car while we
Yeah,
down
blast
the
along.
street.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, no
all-
one's coming.
Yeah. Do you think that was that good or bad? I mean, I sort of wonder if the generations who are coming through maybe will not have the same risk appetite, you know, or do you think that you know, when there was kind of jeopardy also. You said you had high 8 tapes. I mean, I desperately wanted a VHS camcorder, but that just wasn't on the cards for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had to wait until I was older before I could even play with cameras. Now everybody has smartphones with some pretty good pictures and stuff, and they're able to do some tricks, and there are tutorials on how to do this, that, and the next thing. But do you think that you've got it, apart from the experience, you've got it over those kids because you actually were in the boot of a car and driving at unreasonable speeds, or you were on the bonnet of it? I mean, the Shot Hunter, I saw one music video where he was literally, there was a tie down holding him onto a bonnet, filming a New Zealand on air music video. I mean, you just couldn't do it these days.
No, and there's a good reason why.
Yeah,
As well.
there is, absolutely is.
Yeah.
But do you think you have more of a risk appetite maybe than the younger generations, or what do you think?
There's probably an element of like, oh, I've done this before and I've been fine.
Yeah.
But I am more aware now of like, and I'm probably like, I'm okay to do it myself, but I wouldn't want to put anyone else at risk.
Yep. Yep.
But I think there's a lot of things. If there's a big stunt or something, it's sort of out of my hands anyway.
Yeah.
Like you collaborating with stunt directors and health and safety.
Yep. Yep. Again, back to the team. So
Yeah.
is that team element fundamental to success of a project?
Yeah. Yes.
And are you just saying that you're just trying to absolve yourself of all responsibility?
No, I mean, I've got my things that I'm directly responsible for, and
Yep.
and if I've got a crew of like assistants under me or and the gaffers and that sort of, their how they perform and get the job done is reflected on me and vice versa. So
Yep.
so I am responsible.
No, I know you're responsible.
Sorry, I've lost where you were going.
No, that's absolutely fine. I want to ask you about, did you have a light bulb moment? Did you have one moment where you kind of went, this is me, I'm either going to become an accountant, or I'm going to go to broadcasting school, or I'm going to,
Yeah, I think it was in just before my sixth form year, so that would be year 11?
Year 11, yeah, end of
Yeah.
year 11? Yeah.
Yeah, second to last high school.
Yep.
It's like, I want to get into film. Sort of done enough. And so I went through all that year doing sciences because I was, hating it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sort of just, I would have been, 16, 17?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you knew that film was it?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to be a part of. I don't know how or what exactly.
Yep.
I don't even know what the camera system was or
Yeah.
anything like that,
Yeah.
or how. But I just thought, this looks like a cool world to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody ever make you cry?
Of course.
Yeah, I was made to cry once. I was
Yep.
like, far out, this is rough. This is rough. Back in the day, the really gruff old men who had seen everything, smoked way too many cigarettes, and were just angry at the world. What about if you have a nostalgic ad or an ad from the past that you remember that sticks out to you, and you kind of were, I don't know, mesmerized by the romance or a technical thing or the story, or you laughed, or if there was one. Do you have one of those? Do you have a nostalgic ad?
Yeah, there's a few of them. There was that was it Pixie Caramel?
Longest lasting chew.
Yeah, the long lasting chew.
Yeah.
So what's your last request?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a guy strung up with a death squad
Yeah.
about to get shot to death.
Yeah.
And they're asking him what his last request was, and it was the Pixie Caramel.
Yeah. That's right.
But he takes so long to chew it because it's a really chewy product. That's what it is. It's so chewy.
Yeah.
Everyone falls asleep. And does he escape?
He jumps over the wall.
Yeah.
Jumps over the fence of the prison.
Yeah. So it's a great this guy's in life and death, and
He
chews the chocolate bar.
bores the guards to death.
Yeah, and he
Could you
manages
make
to escape.
Can you make that ad today? You think about all of the, we live and learn, right? I mean, Alanis Morissette said that.
Yes, you did.
And I mean, do you?
You're having a
We can't.
bunch of people aiming guns at someone.
But I mean, not think of the racial implications of that. I mean, they sort of insinuated that it was South America somewhere. Of course, they'll fall asleep. You know, if we just outlast them with our pixie caramel. Just so many problems with that ad when you really stop and think about it. And then it wasn't even that secure anyway because it just jumps the wall.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it worked. What stuck with you? Was it that it was exotic, or was it that the story worked for you? Was it?
Yeah, it's probably because it's quite a foreign, exotic, sort of cinema. It's the kind of thing you would see in a movie.
Yeah.
And that
Indiana Jones, that kind of stuff,
the Indiana
wasn't
Jones
it?
sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then he escapes death by
chocolate.
By a chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate saves him.
Yeah.
Confectionery to the rescue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
It was pretty amazing, actually. I mean, I really liked it. I remember that. Absolutely. I remember that.
That's one that definitely sticks in the head.
Yeah, we'll put a link on this if we can find it. I'm sure we can. But yeah, isn't it interesting how those sorts of things stick? We've had a lot of people with a lot of different answers to that. Nick Lowry talks about the Polar Pop beers, which is an animated, I'm a Polar Pop beer.
In the pool.
There it is. Yep.
So juicy and sweet. Yep.
That's it. That's it. That was good. If you want to do the whole song.
No, it's all right.
No, you're good. And so...
they weren't even that good, the Polar Pop.
No, they weren't.
Nothing like Fruju.
No. But the advertising. What was Fruju? Ooh, ah.
Something like that.
Ooh, ah. For the Fruju. It was all about summer. And they were on a yacht. They were on a yacht on...
The that's about it.
And splashing water on each other and things. But it's advertising. Yeah.
But that's the thing with a good ad. Like nowadays, you can just wait 3 seconds and you skip it.
Yep.
But if it's good enough, I find myself you can be drawn in.
Absolutely. I go looking for them. I go looking.
I mean, after a while, okay, we'll skip it.
Yep. Yep. I think it's sort of the messaging has changed. They're way more sophisticated than they used to be. That ad that you're talking about, the Pixie Caramel, I mean, probably they shot it over 4 days, on 35 millimeter film, maybe 16.
Would have been international.
It was probably I don't know if it was. I think it was probably Australasia.
Right, yeah, the Pixie Caramel was probably just a Australasian product.
I think so. It might have been Australian, might have been New Zealand, I'm not sure. But when you actually go back and look at that ad, it moved very slowly. There were way fewer shots than there would be today. Everything will have taken 5 times longer, than it had to. But that was in the height of the money of advertising, right?
Yeah. But there are technical things as well. Like to shoot on film, the film stock would have been slower back then. So you need bigger lights, and then you need more crew. There's some physical limitations compared to the kind of equipment we can get today for relatively cheap compared to then too.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything does is sort of shifting. I've shifted.
How important is that? That's one thing that we sort of find quite a bit is that probably the level of information, because there are so many different cameras and there are so many different lights, the clients often will have a level of understanding that potentially can make them a little bit dangerous. They know enough.
Just enough to...
They know, we need this in 4K and we need this in such and such. And you go, well, hold on. But you're outputting to, what channel are you going to? It doesn't need to be in 4K. It could be 1080 if, or, all that kind of stuff. And then they go, is this a red camera? You're filming it on a red. And it's like, well, no. But we can.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not often directly talking with the client about there's me and the producer probably with that. And I've had those conversations. So it's often I'm sort of the next step down.
Yeah. When do you fight for it? When do you fight for a particular piece of technology?
When I think it'll actually make a difference or help them solve a specific issue or problem the production's having.
Yeah, so what's in your department, what's the most important thing? Lights, control, lenses, assistant? Making the day.
Making the day.
Yeah. at the end of the day, it is a business request, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I know, like, I mean, if you can get in this bit of equipment with people and it can achieve a whole bunch of shots quicker,
Yep.
then yeah, let's go with that.
Yep.
Even though it might seem very pricey. Or it's like, oh no, we can just do it this way. Would that work? Yeah, it's being flexible.
And making recommendations.
Mm.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a line where it might, like, oh, that I know that will look shit, in my opinion, or I wouldn't want my name on it.
Yeah. Is that important? Does that I mean, I definitely know that when we've been on shoots where we'll be filming something and then the client, for example, says, oh, can we just film this thing now? Or, I mean, you and I have been in that situation. At the end of a shoot, we've put an area away and all the things that go with it, and we've been asked to bring a camera and shoot something
else.
completely off.
That's when I'll look at the bigger picture and go, okay, it's about this client being happy with your team, and just and so that might just get cut out anyway, or they might do it and they'll see later like, oh, that doesn't work. That was and then they realise that was a bad idea, or
and sometimes it's better, but
sometimes,
Excellent. What do you think? Have you, over all of the years, you've done some. It's been incredibly varied, the work that we've done together. Do you have any favourites that you can think of? Is it the moments where we've had actors, or is it the moments where we've had technical set stuff, or is it what is the stuff that you've sort of, or is it the off camera stuff, where we've been solving problems, or I don't know. I don't want to.
There's definitely projects I've really enjoyed. But there's a lot of that off-camera, you and your team are great just to hang out with when we've stopped filming and we're on a location for a while.
Yeah.
It's just like friends, mates, hanging out.
Yeah.
That's what makes it enjoyable.
Yep. Do you prefer home jobs or time on the road? Do you like, that when you get the phone call, hey, let's go to Thailand for 10 days and film potentially dangerous stuff in the back of sketchy ambulances, or you've done a lot overseas and days on job.
I love to get out and have a good adventure.
Yep.
And there's definitely, as long as we're not wasting time. Like, I've definitely done jobs and it's like, this is quite a waste of time, or we're not achieving anything here. Why are we doing this? I could be doing something better.
Yeah.
But often, it's hanging out a helicopter, going overseas somewhere. Yeah, it's
good fun.
Good fun.
What else? What would you do?
Something more than just an interview, Another.
What else would you do if it wasn't this? What would you do? Are you are you overqualified for life now? Hanging out of helicopters.
Still plenty to learn, but if I wasn't behind the camera, no idea. I'm completely unqualified.
I don't know. I've seen some some fun stuff with you in it. I think real estate potentially.
Real estate, yeah, maybe selling houses.
Kirk, thank you very much for coming along.
That's all
to
right.
Ruffells Air Break.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and we will shoot some more stuff very soon.
Great. Look forward to it.